Greetings, everyone. This is Payment Lorenzo, your host, your friend, your coach. Today, we're kicking off day 3, halfway to the challenge of the 5-day profitable podcast leads launch challenge for the class of April 2025 for the UK, Europe, and Asia, and Canada, because we have 3 Canadians here, so that's a different story based in Asia. But so we're excited today. Let me start my sharing so we can get straight to it. Do you guys see my screen? All right, cool. So today, I have some fun. We're going to be crafting your irresistible Godfather offer. We're going to build together an offer that your prospect cannot refuse. Like Alex Olmozis likes to say, an offer so good that people will feel stupid saying no to. You guys ready for that? Okay, let's get going. So, let's see if there's anyone else trying to get in. Okay, Fiona is joining. Computer slow. She's on the way. So today we're going to be looking at, by the end of today, we'll have crafted your irresistible Godfather offer. It's going to be based on what we did yesterday on your zone of genius, which is the number one pain point you're solving through your offer, your podcast, and business. And also introduce you to very, very powerful principle of business. One of the principles that completely took my business to the next level, and that is your business must have a quantifiable, measurable end result, QMER, and credit must go where credit is due. To one of my mentors, Dan Henry, one of the smartest guys in the world, especially in mode of marketing. And I learned this principle from him. As I apply that, that's when my business started to take real traction. So anyways, let's get going. Before we start, any questions about yesterday or anything we've done so far?
Where do you post the PDF from the second day and today?
Inside the Facebook group where I post the replay of each day, there's 2 links, one for the video replay, one for the slides.
In the Profitable Podcast Anang group?
Yes. No, on the Facebook group, Profitable Podcast, 5-day Profitable Podcast Challenge, the Facebook page. I'll tag you on that after this call, okay? I believe I've already tagged all of you guys. Every time I make a post for this group.
Because we have now 3 WhatsApp groups and Facebook, it's a bit too much.
I know.
Would be good to focus in one.
Sure. Okay. So what I will do for you guys to make it easier and seamless, I will post the replays and the slides in our WhatsApp group. How does that sound?
Okay. Yeah, that will be good. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Any other questions?
Kind of administrative, but did anybody else? I think I got kicked out of the meeting and it seemed like it was rated an hour and a half. I don't know if that's like a limit on my Zoom account or the meeting, but I got kicked out pretty much right at 7:30 yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, there is a limit if you have the free account, but that applies only when you're hosting the call. I'm hosting the call. I have the paid version, so there's no limit. So it shouldn't apply to you. So make sure that see what kind of issue that could be. Could be connection, could be, I don't know. God knows. But it's definitely not the limit on your account, because that applies only when you are hosting a call. Any other questions, comments, compliments? I'm glad to take those.
Your hair looks good today.
Thank you. Just today.
I'm very grateful that you are doing this 5-day challenge. Very grateful.
Welcome. You're very welcome. Pleasure's all mine. It's my way of giving back and inspiring other people, art-centered entrepreneurs, to share their gifts while at the same time building meaningful, impactful, and profitable businesses, leveraging podcasting. All right, let's get started. So yesterday we talked about your zone of genius. do you guys now have more clarity as to what could be your zone of genius? What can be your zone of genius? You're on a track on the path to having more clarity, because again, the name of the game is clarity. The more clarity you have, the more magnetic your message will be. The more magnetic your message is going to be, the more profitable your business will be. As simple as that. So do you feel now that you're better equipped because you have more clarity to build a profitable business? Yes or yes?
Yes.
Awesome. Love that. Okay. So did you guys do the exercises I gave you yesterday about identifying your zone of genius, about writing down what is one topic that you can talk for an hour at the last minute without any preparation? Something you can talk deep about and not wide. Hello, Fiona. Thank you for joining us. Where did she go? Anyways. So did you do the at least a brainstorming on those questions for yourself? Everybody? Okay, cool.
Well, it was all sort of done for me yesterday, wasn't it, really? So
Yeah. Did you
Kind
get
of got
the
let
Mama
off.
Husky? Mama Husky?
well, so there was lots of names because I mentioned it to a friend who's a copywriter and she just sent me about 20 different suggestions. So I'm gonna, there's it's not coming up with an idea, it's choosing one of the ideas or seeing what fits right.
Yeah.
And also, I think the name that I call myself is going to depend on what angle I take. But it's really interesting that it's not about training a husky at all. It's about living with huskies and making it work,
That's it.
because they can be
Yes.
difficult. They're not like other dogs. And
Yeah.
dog trainers, I feel like what you get taught from other dog trainers is 90% useless with huskies.
So all you have to do is just share your story, your experience of you living with with a couple of huskies. That's it.
Yeah.
That's why the name The Husky Life is actually a very good name, because when people
Yeah.
read that name, they immediately know what it's about. It's about a husky and living with it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Don't focus
Yeah.
too much time and energy on choosing a name. Just choose a
No.
name that is very simple and clear to
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
will not follow you because of a name.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's a content. Absolutely. Great reminder. All right, let's get
Absolutely.
going.
Okay, thank you.
So today we're going to be talking about now that we have this clarity, the zone of genius, we're going to be talking about crafting your offer. And the first step in crafting your offer is the niche selection. The number one question people ask, so what niche should I go after? And the worst way to approach this would be to go after a niche that is profitable or a niche that is trendy or sexy. Because again, can you make money that way? Sure, you can. Is it going to be sustainable? Absolutely not. It's going to be too much effort and investment of time for you to get up to par. The best businesses to build, again, it's not about selecting a niche. It's about simply take inventory of who you are, your skills, your talents, your expertise, your experiences, your wisdom, your gifts, your innate, God-given natural talent, your high-income skills, all the things I mentioned yesterday. What do you love geeking about? What are you known about about? What can you talk about for an hour without any preparation last minute? These are the kind of things that you should take into consideration when it comes to selecting your niche. And again, ultimately, the best niche you can select is the one that is based and built around your zone of genius, where you're going to be helping a very specific person with a very specific pain point. For example, for you, Fiona, it's very simple, living with a husky. Or for example, for you, Katarina, again, maybe living and growing up around horses and the therapeutic benefits of that. I'm just thinking out loud here. Doesn't mean that this is what you need to do. All right. So for you guys, do you have clarity by now as to what can be your profitable niche? Let me check the chat. Absolutely. Keep it simple. Yep. Write a one in the chat if you do have that clarity. Write two if you're still not unsure. If you're still unsure. If you're not, beautiful. Yeah. So write a one if you have clarity, you know what your niche is going to be about. 2 if you're still unsure. Daniel, okay, perfect. What about you, Riley?
Not quite there yet, to be honest.
Okay. Thank you for being honest. This is what we are here for. We're going to be helping you to get there. All right. Anyone else wants to? Patrick, is it a 1 or is it a 2? You can just type it in the chat if you can't, if you're not comfortable for you to speak.
One is clear, right?
1 is you know you have clarity. What is your niche going to be about? 2 is you're still unsure.
Yeah, oh, it's a 1.
Okay, perfect. What about you,
But
Katerina?
it's not clear for you, I guess.
Sorry?
It's not so clear
You
for
have to
you,
t-
but
You have to take the question again because
Okay, the
I am not.
question is write type 1 in the chat if you're clear as to what your niche is going to be about, and type 2 if you're still unsure. Okay, Patrick, 1, okay. Okay, we're gonna get there. Okay, perfect. So next, let's move on. As I mentioned, as I mentioned to you guys yesterday, and I'm gonna mention that over and over and over again. The number one reason why most online businesses, entrepreneurs, coaches fail is because they lack clarity. They want to help everyone with all of the issues. And when you try to help everyone, you're not going to be able to help nobody because your message is not going to relate or stick with anyone. So we're going to change that. We're going to change that. Here's a very beautiful test that I want you guys to implement. Imagine you're sitting at a dining table with your friends, and one of your friends leans over to you and says, so Daniel, Katarina, Fiona, Patrick, Riley, so what do you do? Well, if you start your sentence with, well, it's kind of complicated. Let me tell you a story, or this is how it started, this is what happened. It's not a good way to start. You need to be able to answer that question in a very specific, clear way, in a way that in one sentence, when you answer, that person knows exactly what you're doing, so that they don't need any follow-up questions. They don't need to, look at you like a weird way. If you can answer that question in one sentence in a clear way, so the person doesn't have to probe even deeper, then that's a great place to be. And even more so, here's the hard, cold truth. If you can't answer the question, so what do you do? In a very concise, specific, and clear way, so that the person that asks you fully understands in a very clear way what you're doing, without them having to ask you to follow up or clarification questions, then you don't have a clear business. In fact, I would even venture and argue that you don't have a business. Because if you have a business that is profitable, then you will be able to answer that question in one very specific answer. And that's what we're going to be helping you guys achieve today. So does that make sense? Do you guys understand this test, the dining table test? Or let's say, for example, if you have a child, your 5-year-old child, or your mother ask you, so what do you do? You should be able to answer them that question in a way, in a clear and simple way that they understand, without having to ask you for clarification, follow up, and without you having to start with, well, it's kind of complicated, or let me tell you a story, or this is how it started. Do you know what I'm talking about? Can you relate with that? Let me check the chat. How people go from stress toward balance in life. That's a good start, but we will unpack that to make it laser focused during this call. And that's why my business so far has really struggled, because it's been really hard to put into a quick and easy sentence. Yes, absolutely. And I will just to emphasize more on that, since I've been doing this business and podcasting for the last 5 years and running my academy for the past 3 years, I would say for 95 to 99% of people who are struggling with a business, the number one reason is because, again, they cannot explain their business and what they do in one clear sentence, meaning they don't have clarity. This is the main reason that people in businesses struggle. So this is why clarity is incredibly important. As a matter of fact, here's the next logical thing I want to talk to you about, and that is called the cost of a lack of clarity. So picture this. How much is not having clarity in your offer and business costing you and your business each month? I want you to really take a hard look at yourself, at your business, if you have a business. If you don't have a business, still play along and play that in your head. And ask yourself, how much per transaction is that costing you? How much more
It
money?
get me depressed on thinking on that. So now I'm going forward doing something about it.
That's attitude, absolutely. And the next question to ask is, how much more can you charge if you did have a laser focused clarity in your offer? Because again, the more specific your offer is, the more magnetic your message will be. And that's going to translate into being more profitable. As simple as that. People pay top dollars for a specialist, for an expert, not for a generalist. So this is very important. So I love the feedback you gave, Katarina, and also Fiona. The rest of you guys who don't have a business yet, but want to get a business, this is incredibly powerful. Even me, I used to struggle with this because I didn't have the best clarity. But then over time, I was able to hone in my messaging. So yeah, this is incredibly important. This is literally costing you money per transaction. And money, I don't mean, I'm talking thousands of dollars. So instead of you charging only $500, you could be charging $5,000 for the same offer. Absolutely. So this is why it's incredibly important. Let's fix that. But first, let's take a couple of steps back. As a coach, as a mentor, as an activator, our two main tasks when talking to a potential prospect are, number one, to educate them, not to sell, to educate them in understanding what is a problem they're facing, because we don't know what we don't know. I have issues that I may not be even aware of, and that applies to all of us. So again, your number one task is to educate them in understanding what is a problem they're facing, step number one. Step number two, why it's there. And then step number three, what would happen if they don't take any drastic action to fix it? I see that, Fiona, you have an amazing company there. You distracted me.
Well, sorry, yeah, I thought, well,
Fair
in a
enough.
rare moment they've come to join me. And Miska loves to come and say hi to people.
She wants to learn marketing too.
Yeah.
But well, she's absolutely. Luna's here. She's a bit more camera shy. And Luna doesn't look like a full husky, but she has got all the sat of the fair. So, but she's here as well.
And
Don't know if you.
And when you do your own podcast, I highly recommend you get them to show their
Just do
beautiful
that.
face.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I will find some way of doing a studio where they get to sit with me while I do the thing. I
Okay.
think so.
Beautiful.
Because they are gorgeous. They'll do all the selling for me. So anyway,
Oh,
please
awesome.
continue. I just
Okay.
wanted to introduce
Thank
you
you.
to
No,
them.
no, thank you. Do your thing. Do your thing. Thank you. Thank you. All right, awesome. So again, this is incredibly important, guys, because by educating them, you will open the gates to them, first of all, to trusting you, to taking you more seriously, and then that's going to open up the potential opportunities, the possibilities for them to do business with you. And this is why, because when you spend the time to really educate them, what is a problem, especially in something that they may not be fully aware of, you will become in their eyes like a hero, because you're the one that make them aware of the problem. And when you do that, you will become not just an expert, not just an authority, not just a leader, but their expert, their authority, their leader, because you were the one that took the time to making sure they understand that. And when they do understand that, the next logical question they will ask you, and that is, wow, so how do I fix this? Well, glad you asked. And at that point, the last thing you need to do is to jump at the occasion and ask them, well, my business, don't talk about your business. Keep talking, keep telling them about the problem. And then you say, well, when they say, okay, so how do we fix this? Well, this is what I do. So I can help you with this. Do you guys understand how powerful that is? Because again, if you go straight away to pitching, you will get shut down before you can even blink. Seriously, don't. Again, this is incredibly important, guys. Your number one job as a coach, as a mentor, as an activator, whatever you want to call it, is first and foremost to educate your prospect, the person you're talking to, and understanding the full scope of what is the problem they're having. Because again, we don't know what we don't know. All of us, we may have problems that we may not be aware of, or we may not be aware of the gravity of the problem because we may not understand it fully. So that's your number one job. Educate them in understanding what is the problem, why the problem is here in the first place, what's going to happen if they don't fix it, if you don't take any action. So let me give you a specific example with my offer. So as I've been mentioning, the number one reason why most entrepreneurs online fail to get any traction is because they lack clarity. They lack clarity because their message is all over the place. And when they lack clarity, their message doesn't connect with anyone, resulting in them not getting any leads. No leads, no revenue. No revenue, no business. No business, guess what? You have to look up for a job. So you need to explain to them, educate them, not only as to what is a problem, why it's here, and also emphasize in a vivid manner on the pain that awaits them if they don't fix it. For example, in my case, well, your business is not working because you lack clarity, it's not connecting with anyone, resulting in no leads, no business, no revenue, no business, go back to a job. That's a very overly simplified version of it, but I spend a lot of time going over that. So you need to really, first of all, understand your topic, understand know full well your prospect, and this is why your prospect is you. Share your story, what you overcame, and by sharing your story, you will be not only explaining to them what is the problem, but also displaying your expertise. And then once you've done that, the next major task is to make them believe that they can do it. When you talk to a prospect, when you're selling high-ticket offer of $1,000 or more, you have three main questions. The first question is this person competent? Can I trust him or her? So the first two is where educating them come into place, and that helps them solve this issue. By educating them, you will be displaying expertise, you will be building rapport and trust. And the third one, and the big one, the deciding factor is make them realize and believe that they can do it. Sure, I did it, he did it, she did it, they did it, but what about little me? Can I do it? That's the ultimate question. And you need to be able to make them understand, believe, and realize that yes, they can do it. So this is why having clarity is incredibly important, because let's compare two offers. One offer is, hey, let me help you become a six-figure coach, or even make $10,000 next month. That's a beautiful goal. But for someone who's never done it, let's face it, it's freaking impossible. Instead, break it down, have clarity. Instead, show them, hey, let me show you how to get your first paying client in the next 30 days, leveraging the power of Facebook or LinkedIn. Now, that is very clear, very specific. One client, for someone who's never done it, getting to $10,000, they will not believe it. But if show them, hey, show me how to get that first client. Show me the steps how to get that first client, and then simply replicate those steps to get client number 2 and client number 3, then number 4, and that's when you reach your goals. Let me give you another example. Let's say you're in the fitness business. Let's say you want to help someone. Instead of saying, "Oh, let me help you get fit or be able to get in the sexy dress that you want for summer," for someone who's busy and doesn't have the time, it's going to be impossible. But instead, tell them. I wish Christopher was here because that's what he does. Instead, if you were to tell them, "Let me show you how to lose," and this is something I've done myself. Let me show you how to lose 10 pounds in 30 days with just one exercise a day, 5 minutes. I don't have time to spend 2 hours a day at the gym, but can I spend time to do one exercise that's going to take me 5 minutes to lose weight? Absolutely. For me, personal experience, I started with push-ups. When I started 5 years ago, I could barely do 10 lousy push-ups. I remember the first time I tried it was in Canada during the pandemic. I was staying with family. I tried to do 10 push-ups. And as soon as I was getting to 7, 8, 9, 10, I was panting. I fell on the ground like a pancake. I was just resting on the ground. Next thing I know, I hear three people running, opening my door. My sister, my 2 sisters and her husband, the husband of one of the sisters. And they were all asking, "Are you okay? Should we call 911?" Because I was literally lying on the floor like this. I've never felt so embarrassed in my life. And after that, each day I would do 3 sets of 10 push-ups, and each week I would add 5 more. Now I'm doing sets of 50 push-ups without sweating anything. So again, step by step. Does that make sense? Do you guys follow me? So again, whatever you're doing, break it down to the most smallest common denominator, because your number one job is to make the prospect believe, understand, and realize that they can do it. There's a beautiful African proverb that says, what's the best way to eat an elephant? Nobody has a mouth big enough to swallow an elephant. We eat it by one bite at a time. Even the biggest elephant, one bite at a time. Even a toddler can eat an elephant. Maybe it's going to take him longer, but they can do it. So again, break it down to the smallest. And that's why, again, having clarity is incredibly important. And we're going to be talking today about what is it you're doing, what's going to entail your prospect to do, and how long is it going to take them. And that's going to be our quantifiable, measurable end result. This is very important, guys. Do you guys follow me? Do you guys see how that is important and that makes sense? Write a 1 in the chat if it makes sense for you, if you're following me, and write a 2 if you need more help. 1, Fiona, okay, perfect. Patrick, yeah, perfect. What about Katarina? Yes. Michael, absolutely. Daniel, Riley.
Yeah, and after this, I am going to help you guys make sure that your offers are correct.
We're going to do that. We're getting there. Yes. So Daniel and Riley. Okay, Riley. Yes. No problem, Fiona. What about you, Daniel? Clear as mud?
Yeah, clear.
Clear? Okay, perfect. So I want to hear. Okay. Again, guys, this is incredibly important. This is the foundation of what's going to make or break your offer. Again, clarity is the name of the game. It's what I've been repeating, hammering into your head since the beginning, and I'm going to do it till the end of the challenge and beyond. All right, cool. Let's move on. Let's take a look at the keys to creating a Godfather offer. Again, first and foremost, again, it's all based on one thing and one thing only, clarity. Now, having said that, let me say that again, once we have that clarity, which is based again on your zone of genius, we're focusing on one pain point for one specific person. And this is what your offer, your messaging, your business, your podcast is going to be about. is going to be very clear what is the pain point you're solving, very clear for who, and very clear for how long it's going to take. This is the last factor that is very important. Like for someone in your business to get the result, how long is it going to take them? You need to, for example, for me, from my academy, the offer is, I'm going to help you to, I'm helping you to get your first paying client through your own brand spanking new, or even if you have a tiny audience or no audience at all, podcast, a YouTube channel in as little as 45 to 60 days. It's very clear. What is it? For example, I work with, so if I want to follow this properly, I say, I help authors, coaches, and speakers to get the first paying client, to get clients on demand through their own profitable podcast and YouTube channel, even whether they have a tiny audience or no audience, in as little as 45 to 60 days. That's very specific. It's calling out who, authors, coaches, speakers, doing what, getting clients through podcasting and YouTube, even if you have no audience, and it tells them how long it's going to take. And speaking of the how long, the time frame, be careful. Don't use within. Don't use in, because that is going to expose you to legal liability. Instead, use in as little as. That's a loophole. That's actually a tip I get from an actual lawyer. Because if you say, I'm going to help you, whatever is the outcome you're helping them, for example, for you, if you're not to, I don't know, get your husky to really be peaceful or whatever. Again, I'm just making this up. In as little as 30 days, don't say within 30 days, because if you say within 30 days and it doesn't happen, then you will have you exposing yourself to lawsuits. But if you say in as little, then you're protecting yourself, because again, you will provide them with a blueprint, but you cannot control whether the person is going to implement that. So that's not a responsibility. Your responsibility is to provide them with the blueprint, the system, and then they have to take the action. Just like the saying, we can take a horse to water, but we cannot make it drink. The horse has to do the drinking themselves, itself or herself, whatever. So again, same thing here. Very clear. You have to be very clear. These three items, clarity as to what pain point you're solving, for who, and how long it's going to take. These are the three non-negotiable factors in creating your irresistible offer. Do you guys follow me? Put a thumbs up if you do. Patrick, Daniel? Okay. Perfect. Awesome. Again, the pain point. I've covered that so far. One specific pain point, and that pain point is based around your zone of genius. This is why it's incredibly important for you guys to do the action steps each day. It doesn't take a lot of time, but it does ask you and requires you to do some proper thinking, because we're building a business. We're building a profitable, impactful business, and we have to do some deep soul searching for that. And again, the more magnetic, the more specific you are, the more magnetic your message will be, resulting in your business being more, their message speaking not just to the person, but to the heart and soul, resulting in the business and the offer being you're getting higher conversions and meaning more money. Simple as that. Same thing for the avatar. Very, very, very specific. One person. It's not about I help people. No, very specific. One of my students in the US, she's a very successful black lady of faith. She works with black women of faith in the US, and she's crushing it, because as a black woman of faith, she speaks to other black women of faith. And when they see her, they will identify with her. So, oh, that's me. I can relate with that. I can resonate with that. So let's say I have some of my one student from the past, from the UK, last summer. He's a personal trainer. He's in his 40s. He's a dad. So he works with dadpreneurs busy dadpreneurs in the UK, and it's crushing it because it's very specific. Or mompreneurs, busy mompreneurs, female entrepreneurs who have kids who are very busy. So you need to target, again, your avatar is no one else than you. That's what I've been telling you since yesterday. Build your offer, build your message the way you wished existed when you started or when you were at the lowest just a few steps ago. If there's one thing I want you guys to remember is this. You are your avatar. Build your offer, your messaging, your business, your podcast, your YouTube, whatever you do, the way you wish to exist. This way you don't have to waste time trying to learn about something new, about a new person, a new persona, develop a new persona, new characteristic, new personality. No, you're just being you. I had a beautiful call this morning with a US group. One gentleman beautifully summarized it. It's all about you being you. You being you and sharing your story. That's the ultimate. Does that make sense, guys? Yes or yes? Okay, cool. Awesome. So again, now let's take a look at your irresistible Godfather offer. Again, now let's take a look at the very essential and powerful aspect of a successful, profitable, irresistible Godfather offer, and that is called a quantifiable, measurable end result. Again, your audience wants to know what is it that they will need to do, doing what, and most importantly, how long is it going to take, the time. That's very important because when you're looking to learn something new, one of the first questions you're asking yourself, so how long is it going to take me to get the result? This is natural. We all ask that question. We all wonder that. So you need to convey that in your offer, in your one sentence. For example, I help Husky owners to, I don't know, whatever, to live in harmony with their...
Yeah, I put this in the chat because Michiel put a very helpful suggestion, but I did a lot of journaling on this last night, and it's basically helping you live a fun, joyful, and mostly peaceful life with your Husky in as little as 30 days.
I love
a peaceful life with a Husky is a myth, but you know, it's mostly peaceful. So yeah.
I love that. I love that you have all the
Easy.
elements. What is it, for who, and how long? These are 3 non-negotiable, guys, for your offer. Very, very important. All right. Here are some examples of current and past students' offers. Some of them are my own. Initially, when I started my academy in end of November 2021, it was as simple as launch your podcast in 3 weeks. As simple as that. Or monetize your podcast within 30 days. I need to update that. I'll find your first paying client online in 30 days through LinkedIn and Facebook. Sorry, not but in as little as 30 days. Or if you're in fitness, lose 10 pounds in 30 days with only one exercise in 10 minutes a day in as little as 30 days. The last one is an actual business that I was involved in. As some of you may know, my background is e-commerce. I lived in China, built and sold a brand on Amazon. When I came back in 2020, one of my friends, a 7-figure Amazon seller on Instagram, made a post that he was looking for help to relaunch his Amazon course. I reached out to him and said, listen, don't launch another course because there are billions of those. Let's make it stand out and let's turn it into a challenge. So we turned into a 90-day challenge where we took groups of complete beginners, newbies, no experience in e-commerce, and show them how to find, source, select, and launch their first product on Amazon successfully within 90 days. In 2020, if you guys remember, the world was completely shut down. All the logistics were completely and stand still. Nothing was working. We still managed to help 4 groups of complete new beginners to launch the first product on Amazon. Again, if you want to become a successful seller on Amazon, there are courses that will sell you the dream. Hey, let me show you how to become a 6-figure, 7-figure, even $10,000 per month in the first month. That's impossible. That's BS. Unless you have massive capital. Instead, what if I were to show you how to find, select, source, and launch your first product on Amazon in as little as 90 days? And then after that, once you've mastered those steps, replicate those to launch your second product, then your third product, then your fourth product. That might take you 6 to 12 months, but by then you will reach that level. whether it's 6 figures, 10,000 a month, or 7 figures, or whatever, depending on the budget that you have. So again, this is how you take things. This is how you do it, step by step. These are real life examples of successful offers. Some of mine, some of my students. So I will share the slides with you guys. So go to those to create yours and share them inside the Facebook group. Sorry, inside the WhatsApp group. Does it make sense? Do you guys follow me so far? Okay, cool. Patrick? Okay, Riley, Daniel? Okay. Fiona? Okay, maybe I should ask Luna, and what was the other Husky's name? Forgot. Anyway,
Luna and Miska. Miska is the one who actually looks like a husky.
Okay.
Luna is the responsible one, the older one who does not
so
look very
Luna and
husky.
Muska, are you guys following us? Following
Miska.
me? Miska, sorry, Miska.
No, they've all gone downstairs.
No problem.
Luna
No problem.
and Miska. And Luna means moon, obviously.
Oh,
Miska means gift from God.
Beautiful. I love that.
She's very sweet.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's move on. Here's a very, very, very powerful concept. The customer, your client, has to care about the problem before they care about the solution, you and your offer. Let me repeat that. The customer, your client, your prospect has to care about the problem before they care about the solution, you and your offer. Meaning, comes back to what I said in the first slide, or one of the first slides tonight. Our number one job as a coach, mentor, activator is to educate our audience, our prospect, as to what is the problem they're facing, why the problem is here in the first place, and what's going to happen if they don't take any drastic action right now. So this is what it means. This is very important, guys. The customer, the people you're talking to doesn't give a damn about you or me until they understand what is the problem they're facing. And then all of a sudden they will say, wow, because you will be the one that's going to bring that to attention and make them understand the gravity of it. They'll be, wow, okay, can you help me with this? Oh, absolutely. That's when it opens the doors for you to tell them and show them how you can help them. Do you guys see how that is powerful, guys? This is something I want you guys to really memorize. This is one of the central points of business, especially high ticket. Again, the customer, the prospect has to care about the problem before they care about the solution, you and your offer. This is very, very powerful. Again, I just mentioned that. Educating our audience, that's our main number one priority task when it comes to getting a complete stranger, from a stranger to a prospect to potentially a high ticket paying client. This is very important. So in order to educate them, we need to have these 4 things. First of all, explain to them what is a problem, specific problem, why the problem exists in the first place, consequence of the problem, what's going to happen if they don't take any action, and the ultimate negative outcome as a result of them not doing anything. Whatever that is, depending on your business, on your zone of genius, on your expertise. This is very important. This is the blueprint for a successful high-ticket business. You want to be able to sell a lot of what you're selling? Follow these 4 steps. Educate. Let me go back to the first slide. Educate them, make them understand what's the problem, why the problem is here, what would happen if they don't take any action, and then make them understand, believe, and realize that they can do it. And you will achieve this by having an offer with a quantifiable, measurable end result. What is it they're going to get, doing what, and how long? It all boils down to one thing, comes back full circle to clarity. One specific pain point, one specific person, and a timeline. It's not complicated. It's actually pretty simple. Is this now starting to make sense for you guys? Because if you want to succeed in building a high ticket offer in business,
My head is still spinning on how. So yeah.
beautiful. So you're on the right track. Awesome. Awesome. How about the rest of you guys? Patrick?
I'm not fully sure if my approach or my vision is fitting in this standard business model,
Okay.
because my field is so wide and deep. So I have the pain point because it's 98% of the humanity is suffering. So my target group is endless. The topics are endless, but I don't know how to fit this in a business model.
I'm going to
That's
help
why
you with that, Patrick.
that's why just one thing. That's why I thought to start with the podcast, talk about these topics like fear, suffering, being frustrated, don't live your life purpose, all these kind of things. Talk about it, and if the people there feel the resonance, they will join the community and pay for it. And the high ticket, I'm not sure how this works, but maybe a private coaching session. Yeah.
All right.
Can I just speak up a moment?
But Mikael, I'm curious about your opinion, about your idea.
Please go ahead, Fiona.
Well, so Patrick, what you're saying about your idea for your business is very much what I've been batting my head against a wall about for the last 2 years. And it's, believe me, so generic. It sounds specific because you get the problem and I get the problem and I hear you. But people who don't get it, who are the ones who need what you've got, don't get it. So you're going to have to find a way to really pierce into their hearts what the problem is, what the thing they're experiencing is. I mean, sort of go back to when you came to that realization, because I'm sure you didn't always know this. What was it that brought you into that knowledge and into that wisdom? So that's going to be your problem, is actually getting people to listen, because the people who need you don't know that they need you. And
that's why I got
years
that.
going, oh my God. And now I'm going,
That's why-
let's get enough people who have huskies. So do you know what I mean? It's
one example is feeling lonely. A huge amount of people feeling lonely. I know how to feel lonely, so that's why I want to talk about feeling lonely. Interview another person and talk about feeling lonely, and it will have a big resonance on people. And then I can talk about how you get out of this. So that's my approach, right? But it's not fully. Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's almost like if you can find one aspect of it, you'll attract others who need all of it. But yeah, it's making them, because a lot of people, I said that one to people, and they say, oh well, yeah, but in society today, everybody's lonely, aren't they? And it's like, well, no, they're not, and they think that feeling crappy about life is normal, and we've got to educate that actually that's not normal. People aren't supposed to feel crappy about their lives; they're supposed to feel excellent about their life.
Yeah.
So yeah. I would love to come on your podcast and talk about that, actually, because it's a very important thing, and helping people to appreciate that is a very important task. So I wish you all the courage. I'm not discouraging you at all. I think what you're doing is
it's all good. I know all these things, but I think you will attract the right people on the right time. Maybe not a huge amount, but maybe step by step, the right people who follow you, who like to listen and like to change their life. And I can tell you the planet is working for me because the masses we create, all the people, politicians, economy, everything is breaking down. So people are suffering and struggling more and more every day. So what I have to share, it's getting bigger and bigger. But of course, I know how to address people, how to explain, how to. Can you go back to the thing, to the sentence, Payman? You said the client has to care about the problem. So the people have to be aware that they are suffering. So that's the point. So that's why I want to talk about how is the suffering, and that it's not necessary. That's an illusion, and you can get out of the suffering. That's why I want to have the podcast. That's why I think it's the best way to talk about it, because a course or seminar, they don't know what you said, Fiona. They don't know what it's about. Oh, I don't feel so alone. I'm fine. I have Netflix. I have my dog. But at the end, there's something else, you know?
Yeah.
So
Listen,
that's
if
why
you've
the
got a dog,
podcast.
you've got half the problem licked
Yeah.
anyways.
So the podcast, if they like the podcast, if they like what you are saying, they identify with you, or they see you, they feel you, and then they can go to my community. I also thought about to having like a product, like an online course of inner freedom, to step by step with tools and stuff. I'm not sure about that, but that could be also a product, you know, which you can sell and monetize. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Well, after Lorenzo has finished with his slides, I'm going to do a quick sort of presentation with everyone here, and I'm going to show you $1 million offer creation framework.
Love that.
That you can basically fill in the blank, and that will be your basis, the foundation of your entire business. Because ultimately, the podcast that you create it to attract people that are going to be interested in your offer later on. Your podcast is not going to be something random. It's very specific.
Strategic. Yes.
Exactly.
So what you mentioned is something that I will be also mentioning in a moment. But before I go into that, I want to just answer to what you said, Patrick. Regarding the numbers, you don't need a massive amount of people to listen to you. I'm the prime example. My YouTube channel is still very small. As of this morning, 1,469 subscribers. But that's only been that way, that big, so to speak, only for the past year. Before that, it used to be less than 200 subscribers. The point I'm making is it's not about the numbers, but you need the right people. And because we're going to be offering a high-ticket offer of $1,000, you don't need the big numbers of people. Just you need the right people. That's what I want to say. And something else I wanted to say, but I'm forgetting it here now. What was the first thing you mentioned, Patrick? The connections. Yeah, it's all about clarity. And let's move on, and I'm going to explain to you more on what I wanted to finish my slide before we get to Michiel. So here's a formula. Is it the same formula, Michiel, that you have in mind?
I will share my sentence I developed yesterday. So maybe
Okay.
it's better to make it clear. Let me share.
Sure.
Try.
We'll look into that in a moment. We'll look into we'll do a proper brainstorming together in a moment, together with both me and Michael. We're gonna ask all of you guys to create live your own irresistible offer and then share it in the chat, and we're gonna dissect them and give our feedback at the same time. So, Michael, is this the same formula that you were talking to? I have two versions of that.
How do you mean?
So this is one version at the top, one version at the bottom. Is this the version? One is with, one is without?
Well, it doesn't really matter that much.
Okay.
It depends on whether your target audience focuses more on moving away from pain or moving towards an achievement.
That's exactly, what I'm talking. Okay. Anyway, so here's the formula, basic formula. So you call out, I help. You mentioned your target audience, whether coaches, entrepreneurs, mompreneurs, datpreneurs, whatever your avatar is. Solve whatever problem is with whatever proven solution you have in a time period. I wouldn't put a guarantee, but I would say in as little as, because you do want to have a time frame. That's the one, just like Michael mentioned, moving towards an achievement. The other one is moving away from the fear, the pain, which is high help client avatar with a dream outcome without, for example, for me, it would be I help authors, coaches, and speakers get clients through YouTube and a podcast without having any audience, and as getting the first client without any audience in as little as 45 to 60 days. That's the second version. The first version would be I help authors, coaches, speakers get the visibility they want build a system to get leads on demand and clients organically to their own profitable podcast and YouTube channel, even if they have no audience, in as little as 60 days. That could be the first version. So again, these are just examples, and we're going to look at more examples later on. So I want you guys to take these two formulas, and we're going to ask you guys to share on the fly your offer with us tonight and today, and then write them in the chat and write them also on the WhatsApp group. And Michiel and myself, we're going to help you with honing in the messaging to make it laser focused. All right.
Can I give a quick recommendation?
Please.
I recommend you start with the one that focuses on pain. And here's why. When nobody knows your name yet, they do not trust and believe any promises that you are going to be making.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you say something, I help blah, 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 solve and then XYZ problem, then they will trust you because you talk about the problem instead of promising an outcome. When you are getting very established and your name starts to get out there, then you can focus more on speaking about the big outcome and the desires. But especially in the beginning, you need to focus on the pain points first and talking about a problem.
Great point. Absolutely.
One question, Payment. What do you mean with proven solution?
So for example, for me, my proven solution would be, for my case, leveraging podcasting the right way, which is my system, which is based on not going after the vanity metrics, numbers, subscribers, views, but about leveraging a podcast to build bridges, to get your foot in the door, and to build trust by having conversations. This is my proven system that allowed me to go from completely broke 4 years ago to where I am now. And
yeah, but when you started, you didn't have this proven solution. So how can we say proven solution now?
Because it's worked for me, it's worked for my clients. And in the process, I've learned it. I didn't know about it initially, but as I kept learning and doing and implementing and tweaking and changing it, I've made it better. And now it's working.
It's like your client zero. So if what you are teaching has worked for you, you know it's worked for you.
Yes.
And the more people you work with, you say, oh, okay, well, this maybe hasn't worked for them, but this approach works for them. So then you start to adapt it, and that's how it becomes a proven solution, because you've seen the evidence. You are the proof.
Not just me, my students as well. My students as well.
Yeah. It's like, I know, Patrick, I know how to help people to do all of those things, but I never put it into this framework before. And that's really interesting. But still, I'm going to do Huskies because that's way more fun. Sorry.
Yeah, it also has to be fun, because if you don't like what you do, then you're not going to make it anyway.
Yeah.
So the best way to go at this is, again, look at what painful challenge you had to overcome and simply share how you overcame it. That's your proven solution, because it's worked for you. It changed your life. It saved your life. It transformed your life. You're the advocate. You're the poster child for it. You speak from the heart. You can be very passionate because this worked for you. And because it worked for you, guess what? It's going to work for others as long as they follow the blueprint, the system. What we offer is not, we don't offer to change someone's life. What we offer is we give them a proven blueprint, but they have to implement it. Just like the saying, you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. They have to drink it. For example, I can show you how to launch your product on Amazon step by step. But if you don't implement it, you're not going to launch it. If I can show you how to lose 10 pounds in 30 days, but you have to do the exercise. I can't do the exercises for you. So this is the step by step. This is your proven solution. Whatever crap you had to overcome, and then you simply share the journey, share the process. It worked for you, and it can work for others, because again, there's a system, step by step. The system doesn't fail. It's the people that fail it. Does that answer your question, Patrick? Awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
Good.
Yep.
Awesome. So take a look at this. Let me hear at least one or two of you guys share on the fly. It's okay if it's imperfect. That's what we are here for. We're going to help you together, me, Michael, and all of us together, to hone in and perfect your offer. So take a look at these two. While you do this, I'm going to refill my cup. And let's hear a couple of you guys. Who wants to go first?
I can go first.
Go ahead.
So what I came up with was signature image, build a brand that speaks before you do.
So, okay, you have to call out who is it for. So you said, you have to call out your target, for
Yeah,
example.
that sounds more like a slogan.
Yes.
And slogans don't get you clients.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
that was, unfortunately, that would otherwise it would be very easy.
Unless you're Nike and everybody knows
Yeah.
who you are already.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, it's kind of for anyone that's having struggles with having brand consistency or
Yeah, that's not going to
anything.
work. You need to be very specific.
So anyone doesn't work. If there's one thing that I want you guys to really remember is clarity, clarity, clarity. Be very specific. Not just anyone. So
Well,
if
it's
you-
for
so how long you've been
companies.
how long you've been in this business, Daniel? How long have you helped people?
More than 20 years.
Okay, if you look at all of the clients you've helped so far, again, I'm not asking for empirical data, but just generalities here. What would be the biggest proportion of your clients? Would they be men or women?
I mean, I wouldn't, I don't know. That's a difficult question to answer because a lot of the companies I work for have been fashion or luxury brands,
Okay.
lifestyle brands. So it's not the question of men or women, but I mean, most of the lines are
B2B.
women or geared towards women or
So in this
I mean,
case, listening to you, just echoing back what you said. So your target audience can be luxury people, not people, sorry. Men or women that work with luxury items. Again, this is very raw. Can be improved dramatically. So whether you want to target men or women, call them out and say, seek C-suite managers or executives and luxury brands that need to take to increase the to increase the branding, whatever, by not just get more visibility because that's very vague, but let's say put it this way. Let's get you incremental by an extra 10%, 20%, something that can be measurable. And as little as 60, 90, whatever amount of time that's going to be feasible and realistic in your line of business. This is the very overly simplified overview of it. You understand your business better than me, so you know exactly how to frame it, how to put it in a way that makes sense, that speaks directly to the hearts, soul, and wallets of the people you're targeting.
the way I was looking at it is that it could be, you know, applicable to anyone who's like into coaching, consultants, speakers, creative professionals, artists, designers, or luxury entrepreneurs, founders.
If you were to simplify this and start with one group that you really enjoy working with, which one would that be?
Well, I have more experience working with entrepreneurs or, you know, companies that are doing fashion.
Okay, so fashion related entrepreneurs, for example,
Fashion brands.
fashion brands or fashion
Yeah, fashion brand.
Fashion brands.
Dan, are you doing, sorry, just to clarify, didn't catch specifically, are you creating brands, or are you creating websites? You're focusing on the web aspect of that,
Build the
Daniel.
brand. No, I'm about building the brand.
Building a brand. So okay.
Creating a signature image, because a lot of brands don't have a signature image. And like, I can give you an example right now. I just found out that there's a company in Montreal, it's called Garage, and they just did a very racy campaign for a young girl's line, and it's getting a lot of criticism. And now, so the problem is, like, I used to work for a brand called Simon's, and we had a young girls division, and we specifically never made the campaign racy. We could make it beautiful, we could make it fun, cute, but we never made it sexual. And they made it very sexual. And so now there's a big backlash about this. So a lot of brands, they don't know how to have a consistent brand signature and keep it consistent with the brand values. So, you know, like, I'm actually thinking about approaching them now, because I'm like, this guy, they just clearly drove themselves off a cliff.
Basically, Budweiser 2.0.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to defend it by saying, you know, where they're appealing to an older crowd now, and a confident woman. But you can be a confident woman, but doesn't mean that you need to be straddling a
Oh my goodness, yeah, that grinds my gears when people think that confident women have to be highly sexualized. That's not at all what it's about. So I like that it's, yeah.
Yeah, but the problem with a brand like that is that, you know, because I have so many years of casting, you know, art directing, designing, you know, and even now photographing. So when you're casting, it's like the hardest casting you can do in fashion is for lingerie. This is the toughest of the tough. This, like, if you're trying to shoot, like, it doesn't matter if you're doing Victoria's Secret or any kind of lingerie or anything that's like swimwear. That is the hardest category ever. I've done that category successfully, but only because the casting is key. You have to choose a woman who's beautiful, you know, the right curves, but at the same time, she has to have a certain beauty, but like, it has to be a beauty that's like original beauty, and it has to have a beauty that's like universally appealing, and it's not overtly sexual.
Not unattainable.
It's not. It's got to be. It's got to be attainable, but at the same time, it has to be something that, it has to be a little bit dreamy, but it can't be like looking like the girl next door that have no class. And basically, that's what they went and did themselves. They look like kind of average looking girls that are doing sexual poses and not wearing their tops and stuff like that. So it's overtly sexual. They're bending over, they're doing all these weird poses that, you know, I mean, even American Apparel, you know, had to stop doing that kind of stuff because they got slaughtered for it, you know. So, you know, branding and creating a signature brand and having a long-term vision on the brand is really important. And a lot of people don't know how to do this. I've gone to brands and I've told them very frankly, you don't know what the hell you're doing. Every season looks like a different company, and it's inconsistent. And out of being very frank with them, they hired me for 3 seasons, which was unheard of for that company. You know,
that's what happens when companies hire people from the university students who got taught branding and marketing by people who have never had a business themselves, and they have zero experience. That's what also happened with Budweiser.
Yep.
They hired people from like half Harvard and other universities, and they have zero clue about what they're doing. And then they ruined Budweiser's entire company image.
Same thing with Gillette.
Yeah, I've Disney. Seen big advertising agencies come onto projects and say, oh, they're sending their art director, and she's some big hotshot art director in this place. And I see this young girl show up, like, obviously just doesn't have the experience and doesn't really know what she's talking about. And I've been hired as a expert to kind of consult on how we're going to retouch this after they do their
Yeah,
Photo shoot.
bro.
He's obviously a junior just out of
So
university.
ultimately, you are just to bring this into a head. You are
Damage control.
creating powerful brand identities for visionary fashion brands, something around that kind of lines. But then we've got to add in the time period. But is it a time period? That's not something that people want necessarily quickly? They would rather have it done well. Is that right? And it's about the power and the identity and the getting the tone right. It's quite a difficult one to
I think
quantify.
it's very possible to get it done quickly. It's just that you have to do the thinking about what does your brand represent. You know, if I wanted to represent a brand of Huskies, Husky School of family living with Husky School, what are the Husky? What are the Husky values? You know, what are the Husky colors? What are the what's the Husky model?
Yeah.
You know, kisses before barking. You know, like but you have to establish this.
It's
You
more
have
like
to have,
howling or singing than barking, but yeah.
not just making
Yeah.
a point. It's like, it
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
matter. Doesn't matter what you're talking about, but it doesn't matter what industry it's for. It just matters that you have the reflection about what is it that you want to get out there to the public. What is the personality of the brand? Maybe that's a way of saying it. Develop your brand personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So develop your brand, your winning brand.
Without tripping on your feet.
There you go. Put that in writing and as little as, and you're golden. That's a beautiful start, brother.
Okay.
So helping fashion brands, fashion designers develop a winning fashion brand in as little as 90 days or 60 days without the risk of backlash.
Like dropping a massive googly and
Yeah.
killing your entire company.
Yeah.
Effectively.
Without finishing like Budweiser. You can put that.
Yeah.
Seriously, the next Gillette. Put that.
Yeah, and you can use those stories about what happened with Gillette, Budweiser, Disney, Netflix, and all those extreme woke platforms.
Starbucks and
you
stuff
can
like
put
that.
that on social media, and you can teach lessons out of it.
Using
I would say develop your brand without tripping on your feet and finishing like Budweiser.
And as little as, yeah, absolutely. Love that. Yes. Yeah.
Get sued by Budweiser.
Okay. Who cares? They're not going to come after us.
They probably run out of money after all the lawsuits
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, they lost like $70 billion.
In 1 quarter.
Did they?
Something like this. Yes, last year. Anyways, let's move on, guys. Let me share with you some examples of real life examples of irresistible Godfather offers from previous students. For example, I help female executives over 40 experience greater health, reverse diabetes without drugs and expensive medical bills. And as I would add, in as little as, I don't know, 60 days, 90 days, like reversing diabetes. That's an actual business making great money. I help male entrepreneurs in the 40s and 50s get the first paying client. Within, I will change the within to in as little as 30 days using the power of Facebook groups. I help busy moms in the 30s lose 1 dress size in as little as 30 days without going to the gym with only 1 5-minute exercise per day. That would be a slam dunk offer. You would be swimming in money I wish Christopher was here. That could be a slam dunk for him. I help single dads find, select, source, and launch the first product on Amazon within 9 days. Actually, one lady that I have on my podcast, and she has a phenomenal business. What she does is she helps single male entrepreneurs find a dream partner, dream woman, and vice versa. And she's killing it. So again, there can be beautiful business in every niche, but it has to be very specific. Okay, let me put this. This is another business. I help introverted entrepreneurs gain unshakable confidence and land a TEDx talk without any presentation experience in as little as 30 days. That was literally me. So again, these are some examples. Take a look at the slides. I'm going to share the slides with you after. So here's my offer. I help authors, coaches, and speakers with a tiny or no audience at all launch their profitable podcast to get leads on demand and clients organically in as little as 60 days. That's my offer. It's clear. It says for who, doing what proven solution, and the time frame. So if you take that as an example, as a framework, and just plug in with your information using one of these two, one going towards an achievement, a milestone, the other one going moving away from a pain. And as Michael earlier beautifully mentioned, initially when you start, unless you already have all the accolades, the recognition, all that, focus toward the pain. Once you have the credibility, for example, for me, 400 episodes of a podcast, 4 #1 national best-selling books, a TEDx speaker, academy, 100 clients, then you can mention the benefits. But until then, yes, focus on the pain. Because again, just like Tony Robbins said it many, many years ago, the two powerful twin towers of pain and pleasure. People tend to want to escape pain much more than going towards pleasure. This is not me saying it. This is Tony Robbins, said it way back in his first book, Unlimited Power, back in the 80s. So again, focus on the pain. And the best way to focus on the pain is this, as I mentioned at the beginning. Educate them in understanding what is the problem they're facing, why it's there, what would happen if they don't take any action to fix it. And I mentioned that even more here. The customer has to care about the problem before they can care about the solution you and you offer. So essentially, focus on these 4 items: specific problem, reason why the problem exists in the first place, consequence of problem, and ultimate negative outcome as a result of inaction. If you build your messaging, you offer around this, you put that together, you will have a slam dunk offer. But anyways, speaking of offers, offer creation is basically wealth creation. I'm not joking. When you create an offer, especially when you put together an offer that you can sell for $1,000, and honestly, $1,000 is the lowest, because all of you guys in here have been around long enough to have acquired, accumulated, and gained tremendous amounts of knowledge, gifts, wisdom, expertise, that you can charge a pretty penny for your knowledge. As I mentioned yesterday, do not discard, do not undervalue something that is second nature for you. Because yes, it may be second nature for you, but for the right person, it can be not only gold, but in some cases even a matter of life and death, depending on the problem you're solving. So again, when you create an offer, when your offer is very specific, very clear, then people will be able and willing and ready to pay you 5, 4, 5 figures, even 6 figures. I'm not joking. If you don't have a business and you haven't sold anything over $1,000, it might sound like a pipe dream. But listen, I'm telling you, my coach is a former pastor in Toronto, Canadian Korean guy. He started 5 years ago. He was charging only $500 per class. I hired him as a coach in June of 2023. I paid him $10,000. Now the same coaching program is $25,000. And he has a VIP one-on-one offer for 3 months. He doesn't advertise. He has a waiting list. He charges it for $75,000. And he has a waiting list. Because again, people pay for 2 things. 1, transformation, and 2, speed. If you can help people learn, acquire, or solve a problem that is urgent and painful faster than they can do it, you can name your own ticket. So again, offer creation is incredibly powerful. And once you master all of what I've been telling you, again, it all starts with one thing: clarity. The more specific you are, the more magnetic your message will be, the more profitable your business will be, and the more you can charge. So even though you may not have sold anything over $1,000 yet, but for all of you guys in here, $1,000, pounds or euros should be absolutely strict bare minimum, because you all have incredible gifts, wisdom, expertise that you can charge a lot of money for. So anyways, to create your irresistible offer, again, your offer has to have these 4 non-negotiable criteria. One, it has to be you have to call out the person, it has to be quantifiable, measurable, specific result, and how long to achieve that. Just go through the slides. It's not rocket science. Put them together, and you will build. And I'm gonna be here, myself and Michael, to help you create and craft your irresistible offer. Whether it's gonna be today or by the end of the week, we're gonna help you. I'm gonna help you for sure. So let me catch up with this chat. Develop your brand immediately without tipping on your feet and finishing like Budweiser. I would change the immediately to in as little as, and you put however amount of time is realistic and achievable in your industry. Something that you can pretty much guarantee, as long as the person takes action and follows your system that you provided. Your job is to provide them with a system, with a blueprint. Your job is not to do the work for them, unless you offer it done for you. But if you offer it done for you, then you can charge 5-10 times more. So again, you do not guarantee results in the sense that, hey, I can't guarantee whether you are going to commit and do the work. I can take you to the water, but I cannot drink the water for you. I can show you how many reps you need to do, but I cannot do the push-ups for you. And so on and so forth. So this is very important. I help people in career shift find the essence in 30 days. And as little as 30 days. Yes, I love that. And if I may suggest, I would tweak the people to something more specific, and even more so, what career? And the best way to answer that is look at your own professional background. Let's say, for example, Katerina, you spent 25 years in finance, on accounting, or medical, or whatever. Then target those people. For example, I help
as a career coach.
Okay. So you can do, I help female executives, for example, do a successful and meaningful career shift and find their purpose in as little as 30 or 40, 65, 60, however many days or months or weeks it is realistically achievable. Don't try to tell them, hey, I'm going to help you make $1 billion in 10 seconds. Something that is realistic and achievable. Your brand will speak with or without you. Make sure it says what you want. Don't launch like Budweiser, build a signature image, so you need this. That's beautiful, but that's more like a slogan. And as Michael said, slogans don't get you clients. Your brand is talking. Make sure it's saying the right thing.
Yeah, a hard truth is that slogans usually only boast the ego of the CEO and does little to nothing to the actual customers.
Unless you're Nike.
The same with logos.
Yeah.
The
So
same with logos.
if you can take what you wrote, Daniel, your brand and is talking, make sure it's saying the right thing. So how can we phrase that in a way? So you want to work with fashion brands or fashion. I help fashion brands. I help fashion brands find their voice, find their, not their voice, find their, wait, let me see. I help fashion brands hone in on the messaging, on the winning messaging in as little as 30, 60 days, something like that. I'm just thinking out loud.
I would say within one season because, you know.
There you go. You know, you understand the industry better than me. So implement that. Implement what I've been sharing with you guys tonight.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then I can now go through the framework, the offer creation framework.
Yeah, go ahead. The floor is yours, my friend. Let me stop sharing the screen.